Okay, we're pretty close to the 100, and we should go over it very quickly. So we're going to start the meeting. Calling the meeting to order at 7:50. Yeah. Oh, it isn't?
Let me see it here.
Okay. We are going to start the meeting. We are close to 100, and I think we're just about to go over, so we'll start the meeting rather than hold you here any longer. I'm going to introduce Jim Zioli for Selectman, Joe Blake, Board of Selectmen, Roy Cosacrio, Tony Nastri, Ralph Oakenquist, Mitch Goldblatt, Pat O'Sullivan, the Town Clerk, Kevin McNabola, Chairman of the Board of Finance, Pam Mangini, who's the Director of Finance and Administration, and yesterday received an MBA. And here also is Jim Leahy of the Board of Finance. Vinnie Marino, Town Council, is also here. There are other members of the Board of Finance, and Ray, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and Tim James, Superintendent of Schools, so I forgot, he's also here. Pat?
I'm going to now read the notice of the annual town meeting. Notice of the annual town meeting. Notice is hereby given to legal voters and those persons qualified to vote in town meetings of the town of Orange. The annual town meeting of said town will be held on Monday, May 14th, 2007 at 7:30 p.m. in the gymnasium of High Plains Community Center, 525 Orange Center Road, Orange, Connecticut, for the purpose of taking action at that time upon the following matters. 1. To authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell and convey land acquired by the town through foreclosure of tax liens or by deed in lieu of foreclosure of tax liens. 2. To determine in accordance with sections 12-142 and 12-144A of the Connecticut General Statutes the installment due dates for all property tax, including property tax on motor vehicles. 3. To receive and discuss the report of the budget prepared by the Board of Finance for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2007. By virtue of Town Charter Section 2.6C, in a vote of the Board of Selectmen, item 3 shall be voted on by machine ballot at an adjourned town meeting referendum to be held on Tuesday, May 22nd, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. at High Plains Community Center, 525 Orange Center Road, Orange, Connecticut, 06477.
Get Sharon to know.
Dated Orange, Connecticut, this the 2nd day of May, 2007, and it's signed by the Board of Selectmen, James Zioli, First Selectman, Roy Cosacrio, Anthony M. Nastri, Joseph F. Blake, Mitchell R. Goldblatt, Ralph G. Oakenquist, and it's attested by myself, Patrick O'Sullivan. Mr. Moderator, pursuant to state statutes, it should be noted for the record that the notice of the annual town meeting was published in the New Haven Register, a newspaper having circulation in the town on May 4th, 2007. It should also be noted that the notice of the annual town meeting was posted on the signpost in front of the town hall, and it was signed by all the Board of Selectmen, pursuant to state statute. Mr. Moderator, absentee ballots will be available in the town clerk's office starting tomorrow. So if you're not here next Tuesday, May 22nd, you can vote by absentee. You do have to come into the town hall to the town clerk's office. Just one note, we may want to be mindful of our cell phones or pagers or beepers during the meeting. And finally, Mr. Moderator, pursuant to Robert's Rules of Order and meeting conduct, I call for the orders of the day.
We will discuss the first two items and also the third item, but we will vote tonight by hand on the first two items, and we will have discussion on the third item, but we'll adjourn to a referendum on May 22nd. we will take these issues in order. Is there a motion on item number 1? Mr. Oakenquist?
I move to authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell and convey land acquired by the town through foreclosure of tax liens or by deed in lieu of foreclosure of tax liens.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Moderator.
Mitch Goldblatt has seconded the motion. Now, if anyone wants to speak on any of these issues, please come up to the podium, state your name and address. We are limiting you to 2 minutes. Joe Blake will time the presentation. Anybody want to speak on this issue? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Item number 1 passes unanimously. Is there a motion on item 2? Mr. Blake?
Mr. Moderator, I make a motion that the 2006 grand tax list for real estate, personal property, and motor vehicle be paid in 2 installments with due dates on July 1, 2007 and January 1, 2008, with the exception of motor vehicle tax bills under $100, which will be due in 1 installment on July the 1st. Thank you.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Roy? Seconded by Roy Cosacrio. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, that item passes unanimously also. Any discussion on item 3, the budget? Anybody wishing to speak can come up to the podium. Okay. Nobody wants to say anything about this budget? Okay. Mr. Goldblatt.
Yes, I'm Mitch Goldblatt, 291 Drummond Road. I have a question on the budget. I read recently in the Orange News that there's going to be a bulk pickup this summer, yet I don't recall seeing that in the budget for this year, 2007, 2008. I'm wondering if someone can address as to where that item is in the budget. If you would, thanks.
Kevin, can you do that?
I'll answer it.
Okay.
Mitch, the reason it's not in the budget is Mr. Lieberman put it, you guys think, I can't hear out there, so I don't know if it's working. Mr. Lieberman bid it out once already. This bulky trash pickup started with a senior leadership group, which are run by Community Services, and they've worked to put this program together. We solicited bids on this once, and there was only one bidder. The price was very high. We chose not to accept it. It will be going out for bid again, and the senior leadership group worked, refined the bid process requirements in that. We have money left in this year's budget that, since we had an easy winter, it's still in the public works accounts, but it's in the snow removal, labor, sand, salt for winter work. When we know how much it's going to be, we should have had it for our last selectmen's meeting last week, but unfortunately, since there was one bid, we couldn't do it. And we will encumber the money from the current budget that we're in to do this bulky trash pickup at people's homes. The last time it was done, I think you did it 7 years ago. The senior leadership group worked very hard to compile this, and if we get bids that are in the range of money that we can afford to do this with some of the leftover winter funds, that's when it will be done. Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, we will.
I'm sorry. I find it highly unusual not to have some sort of presentation on the budget. So, I mean, not that I want people to be here longer than they have to, but I think it's imperative, especially people that aren't here, and anybody who doesn't want to hear this can leave. I think it's imperative to hear the impact of the reval, and especially the face-it that's been voted on by the Board of Selectmen, how it's going to affect people's taxes. I think that's something that people would like to hear and understand better, because I know there's certainly some confusion about that. I don't know if there's any handouts or presentation that could be done tonight to help get those answers.
Yeah, I mean, Pam does have, we, here we go, thanks. There was a meeting held on April 30th, which was a public meeting, public hearing that we had. We had about 75 people there at that meeting, which we addressed all facets of the budget. I'm here tonight, available for questions. If anybody has any questions or wants to understand the impact or the phasing, I'm here for you tonight. You know, either now or after the meeting, whichever you'd like.
Yes, can you come up
That isn't what Mitch said. He has to explain what it would be. You know, we don't want to come up with this. Can't you explain what
Phase it? Sure. I can explain it to you. Hopefully in terms that, you know, will be palatable for the average taxpayer. Basically with the phasing, the way it works, since we had reval this year and we increased our budget 5.3%, if we elected, or I should say if the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance elected not to do a phasing, the basic impact on your tax bill, you would see about a 17% increase on the average home within Orange in the tax bill. Because of the phasing, and we've decided to do it over 5 years, your tax bill for this coming year will be on average about 7% higher than it was last year for the average taxpayer from the tax impact.
Why is there such a big increase? Why are we going through this? You know,
Well, the big increase is attributed to
you're raising taxes here. The seniors, and I'm a senior, are getting really beat up in this town. We don't get any cash picked up.
Excuse me, sir, can you come up and put your name and address on record?
Yeah, my name is Gus Morathis. I live at 845 Robert Street Extension in Orange. I don't understand the increase that we're getting clobbered here in Orange. We're talking about a 5-year phase-in. You're talking about 7% this year?
7% increase in your tax.
Okay. Now, what are we getting for that? We don't get any trash pickup. We don't get any other services besides fire, volunteer, and police. What else do we get here? But every time I hear somebody say Milford gets this, Milford gets that, I don't see anything in this town.
Well, what Milford also gets is basically about a 10% increase to their budget this year, with what they're looking at versus what Orange is looking at this year, which is about 5.3. If you look at what's that?
Speaking to the mic.
If you look at the average municipalities surrounding us, you'll see that a lot of towns like Hinton, West Haven, Milford, Bethany, Woodbridge, a lot of those towns are returning increases that are actually higher than Orange. And one of the reasons we looked at doing phase-in was actually to help the seniors from a standpoint of if there was no tax phase-in, what you'd be looking at is a significant increase. So if you had a home that was valued where your assessment was $203,000, your assessment on your home, and in a lot of cases, some assessments in town have doubled because of the rebound. So it went from 203 to 406. So from that standpoint, you're paying about $6,400, $6,500 in taxes now. If we did no reval, next year you would be paying $8,900 in taxes instead of $6,400.
You're going to have a lot of empty houses in Orange.
Exactly. As with other towns that don't elect in some cases to do reval. For instance, West Haven. I should say the phase-in. West Haven elected not to do a phase-in last year, and you look at the inventory of houses that are on the market. There's a ton of them for sale because people can't afford to live. So we, as a board, as well as Board of Finance, felt that with the increases of heating oil, gasoline, healthcare costs, utility costs, which are going through the roof. All that at one time is, it's almost like a financial tsunami. When you couple that with a reval or a huge increase in your assessment.
Well, maybe we should do something about Stu Leonard's, bringing up the SAR subject. That would bring in some taxes. And I don't see anything being said or done about Stu Leonard's.
Well, I can't answer for that.
That's because it's in court. It will be answered. Judge Nato decided to send it there on the wetlands hearings.
But I don't see you responding to anything.
What am I? And sir, what should I respond to?
Well, I mean, at least you have some information about something. I don't hear
We're
anything.
not in court. It's a private group.
Well, I think it's a one-sided deal, but I think if they brought Stu Leonard's in, you'd be saving some taxes to the seniors and people who aren't.
Well, then possibly so. He just opened it, had his grand opening in Newington last week.
I know.
Any other comments? Yes.
Ray O'Connor, 674 Lambert Road. The budget presentation in here, they talk about fund balance, which is projected to be $7.8 million on June 30th, 2008. The Seward and Mundy audit report for June 30th, 2006 indicated the undesignated fund balance is $8.2 million. I understand $400,000 was then transferred to capital projects.
410. That's correct.
My understanding is, well, why can't we reduce the $7.8 million if we took out $2.5 million to reduce the town taxes by 5%? We don't need, as far as I can see, we don't need the $7.8 million unless someone has prepared an analysis indicating what unforeseen and uninsurable items have occurred. We're sitting on a pile of money. It belongs to the taxpayers.
Yeah, when you actually look at it in terms of percentages of fund balance, the projected fund balance for the end of 2008 is expected to be about 14.7%. And basically, Moody's and Standards & Poor's recommend that towns that have these fund balances be at a rate of about 10 to 12%. So, in that standpoint, we are slightly higher than the projected where they would like us to be. But the good thing about that is by having a higher fund balance, you actually get a higher bond rating as well. So we are currently in AA. We have a really good shot at being a AAA town in the near future. Let me just finish, right? Just to give you a little bit of history. That fund balance at 7.8 is basically the same number as when Jim came here as first select. So it really hasn't changed. It went up to 8.2 in 06, and we're projecting $410,000 capital expenditures to be used for that, which will bring it down to roughly around 7.8. But that 7.8 is basically an accumulation of many years, 5, 6, 7 years of building up the fund balance. As you know, indicated over the past 7 years. You looked back to 1996, when I actually came on the Board of Finance in the late 90s, the fund balance was at like 5%, which is well below where it should be from the standards.
I understand that, but at what level are you going to stop?
Well, personally, I'd like to stop right here. I would like to keep it where it is. I wouldn't want it to grow it any more, but you know, we do have to have some funds on standby for emergency things. Not that we're looking to do that. All it is just an accumulation over many years of give-backs from Andy that have gone into the fund. And we as a board, what we typically do is we take those funds and we designate them towards non-recurring expenditures.
The give-backs from Amity would be basically overfunding their budget. So we have a closer look at their budget and not give them as much money as they asked for and monitoring it. I understand Jim's doing a great job doing that now. But 10% would be $5 million, or a little over 5. 10% of the operating budget would be a little over $5 million, and you've got an extra $2.5 million there.
So we make recommendations to Amity on where they should budget. It's really up to the Amity board to make that decision. All the Board of Finance can really do is make a recommendation.
Thank you.
Make a motion, okay, Raymond.
Make a motion to extend your time.
Never mind.
Anybody else?
Yep.
Thank you. My name is Lawrence Levy. I live at 393 Clark Lane. And if I'm out of order, please don't stop me. I think there are a lot of folks in the town that do not truly understand the new tax increase, the phase-in, etc., etc. I was here the other day and someone said to me, he said, I really can't understand. They raised my value of my home by twice, but they didn't reduce my taxes any, really. Well, that in and of itself says that we have a lack of communication somewhere. There are a lot of folks in town that, quite frankly, are not as up on things as you people are, and maybe as I am myself. But I think that the town owes it, the administration owes it to the community to let them know really why what has happened is happening, and really and truly how it truly affects them. Not for them to say, my house is now worth twice what it was, and the tax rate has not gone down. Thank you.
Actually, just to answer that real quick, your mill rate will reduce by roughly 2 mils. It currently is at 31, it's going to go down to 29.9. It's going to go down 2 mils the upcoming year.
Well, you have two options there. If you would like, a large reduction in your mill rate, that's fully possible. You could tell us tonight that you don't want the 5-year phase-in, which would be okay. Nobody has come, or very few people have come to the Board of Finance or Board of Selectmen meetings to have any input on this. Very, very few people have. We've tried to explain it. It was in one of the local papers. And I did an analysis of one house, the writer of one of the letters that was in the local papers. And if you drop the mill rate down to a lower number, the 29.9 number at phase-in, the 5-year phase-in, could be 22.1. But then you would be paying full boat assessment on your property on the new assessed, 70% of the new assessed value, as opposed to doing it with the 5-year phase-in, which is taking the new number, deducting the old number from it. You take that difference, divide it by 5, add 1/5 to your old assessment number, then multiply that out by 29.9. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what's going to happen in 3, 4, 5 years. But that particular homeowner, the difference would be at 22.1, the increase would be $1,538.96. At the 29.9, by doing the phase-in, the increase will be $514.77. That's the difference between the phase-in and going full boat. What all it's doing, they're able to actually will save some money. Mitch had done a little analysis at our meeting, and I think over the 5 years, he figured there would be about a $1,200 savings over the total of the 5 years. But it also softens that blow for people, for budgetary problems, for just for their financial, all the figurings. We're all facing the UI going up, whether you sign up with those Let's Go cards in your envelope or not. The oil, you have propane. I paid $3.25 a gallon for regular gas down at on the post road. So all those things are just out of control. We signed some good contracts for electric, for oil, gasoline, and propane for the town. But nonetheless, all of those, even with a good contract, are jumping up on us. Never mind increases in just percentage increases in labor and that sort of thing. And so that's why we opted for the phase-in. If you do not feel that the 5-year phase-in is right for your community, let us know. Tonight's your night. Otherwise, we're going to adjourn to referendum, and it is what it is. We put a lot of effort into this, a lot of analysis, all of us. And that's why we did what we did. We did it thinking of the townspeople. We didn't do it thinking of us. We all live here too. I have a father who's going to be 82, and my mother, I won't say, but she's here. And so I fully understand what it is on the senior side and the young person side. I have no children in the school system, but I'm still part of the taxes that we have to fund. Some of you had children and have grown up and moved away or moved back here to raise their families. So we have to look at the total picture. The Amity budget already passed. The Amity budget is $1.1 million and change increase to our budget. The Orange Elementary School budget is part of this budget that's before you tonight. That's $900 and some odd thousand. The other small piece of that that's left is the town of Orange's piece. The piece for sweeping the streets and paying the tax collectors and town clerks and all that part of it. You come here to the operation of the community center, the library, all our other, please, if any of you partake, park and rec, you pay, but we do offset some of those, a lot of the profits. been at best, but we still own the facilities that, so that's where we are. If nobody understands, or if anybody doesn't understand that phase-in process, I'll be glad to go through it again. But that's how it works. Does anybody not get that? Jim Leahy would like to.
I'm sorry. I just want to make a quick comment, and I think we're all ready to go home. And that is, maybe 25 years ago, when I sat on the Board of Selectmen, Revale and phase-in came to me, and the Board of Selectmen voted the opposite direction that I'm telling you not to go tonight. Definitely, economic times have changed. It's got a little tougher. We all know that. Let's be honest about it. Cost of education, cost of fuel, as James mentioned. The only really way to go this year to make it as easy as possible, and I don't like a tax increase, believe me, make it easy is to really go with the phase-in. It's going to make it a lot easier, a lot more comfortable for the young people moving to town, and also for the senior citizens like myself to live in town that are on fixed income. So please, I hope nobody tonight makes a motion to not go for the phase-in, because I honestly, and I've been honest with you all the years, this is the best time to go for the 5-year phase-in.
May I speak again, please?
Absolutely. You've got 2 minutes like I think I did.
Not to be misunderstood, I don't argue with phase-in at all right? And I'm not naive enough to think that I can truly understand the depth of the budget that thousands and thousands of hours have been put in by you folks. My point really is that I think that it's owed to the town members, the town citizens of our community, to find out what is happening before it happens and explain in such terms that they can understand. I'm not an accountant, and I know a lot of people here aren't. I understand what's been done. I understand why it's been done. I just think there are a lot of people that don't, and I think they deserve to know. That's my point. I'm not against phasing.
Oh, okay.
Lawrence, thank you. I was down and a couple of times we did say, and we did not do the article. So I will take it as a next step to write an article as best I can for others to submit if they wish to people to town. Because it took me a while to kind of pick it up myself. But usually I pick up pretty good. And usually when I pick it up, I can explain it to most people. So I would be happy if maybe I could give to the Board of Selectmen or whomever an article draft with graphs, because I think you can say it in pictures a lot better than you can say it with examples. And then you have it in front of you rather than, gee, what did he say, type of thing. And hopefully good ideas with clarity will win out. And I think that's really what you're saying, isn't it, Lawrence? Okay, so I will accept that as the next step.
Just to let everybody know, we do have copies of the tax phase-in up here for the calculation that go along with it. If you're interested in coming up here to pick up a copy, I'd be glad to explain it to you if you have any more questions. Let me just say one more thing. And Orange is actually leading the way with other towns that are doing phase-ins. Milford is now doing the phase-in as well. They've elected to do that. So I think that the phase-in is the right way to go.
Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, anybody second that motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we are going to adjourn this meeting to the referendum to be held May 22nd between 6 in the morning and 8 at night at Ivings. If you know anybody who needs a absentee ballot or you need one, you can pick them up at the town hall. Meeting is adjourned.